Speaker this evening. I like to think of him as the club jovial Toastmaster. He's always happy. He's always fun. He's always got great things to say. He's always upbeat. And I know that I appreciate his energy. I think he brings a lot of energy to the club. And maybe it's because when he's a librarian and he's in the library, he can't do all those things, but he can certainly bust out and do them here. Please say hello to our second speaker this evening with a speech title, The Informal Protege, Mr. Larry Johnson. Larry.
Toastmasters International and most professional organizations have formal mentoring programs. Typically, you would just submit an application to an office or a committee. They process it, and you're matched with a mentor. The best thing about formal mentoring programs, you are forced to set aside time to meet with your mentor so you can accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, as well as be accountable. Unfortunately, not everyone can benefit from a formal mentoring program, and that is certainly true for me. And the reason why is because I just don't have that much time in my life, especially now. If you see my schedule, you would go a little crazy, like I am now. However, there is a way that I can take advantage of informal mentoring opportunities. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, what is informal mentoring? According to the Central Washington University, informal mentoring develops organically. It's not managed by staff or volunteers and typically has little or no structure. It usually begins when people already have developed a relationship. And that is the case for me. My informal mentors were people I want to imitate, who would listen to me and give me sound advice. And lastly, they were my pushers. As I mentioned, my informal mentors were people that I want to imitate. Let me tell you a brief story. As a children's librarian, I do story times often. But when I first started doing story times, I was a mess. And the audience, well, they just were a little bored, which is bad when you're dealing with children. One of my colleagues was fantastic as a story time presenter. She was able to draw in the children and their parents. I imitated her by copying her script, which you do in all story times. You have one. By copying her style and customize it to me. And I even copy her book displays. And as my mentor, she will often give me advice on how to improve my story times. As a result of that relationship, I now give really good story times. And the kids love me. My mentors are also people who would listen to me and give me sound advice. One of my favorite managers, his name is Salvador Avila, a big man with a big voice. I would just go into his office and complain about everything. He would just listen to all my complaints. And he would give me sound advice by giving me solutions on how to take care of the issues that I was having. In addition, one of the biggest things that I always complained about, that I could never get promoted in my organization. I didn't have good interview skills. He listened to me, and he spent hours and hours with me, prepping me for interviews. We had long practicing sessions. And he also told me one method called the A-B method. A, you give the interviewer a bit of history of yourself, and B, what you tell them what you would give them to the organization in the future. Now, I must admit, it didn't work in my organization. That's a different story. But it did work when I was hired as an adjunct librarian at the College of Southern Nevada. Lastly, my mentors, informal mentors, have been my pushers. And my very first mentors are my parents, specifically my father. My father pushed me to be the best that I could be. One way he pushed me was telling me stories of how hard he worked, especially as a child. He told me that he used to dress in white, which was kind of strange. I'll get to that in a little bit. And he used to go into the orchards and pick all kinds of fruit in his white clothes, and they were all dirty, which is kind of strange. But that story told me, Larry, you better work hard if you want to achieve something in life. That's how he pushed me. In conclusion, informal mentoring works for me. And my informal mentors were individuals who listened to me and gave me sound advice, people that I want to imitate, and people that push me. Do you have yourself an informal mentor? Do you have someone that pushes you to be the best person that you can be? Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Larry, thank you very much. That was awesome. Nice.